100 years ago, America moved at a different rhythm. The days felt longer, the nights seemed quieter, and life was built around simple moments that many people today have never experienced. There were no smartphones buzzing with endless notifications. No streaming movies waiting with the touch of a button. No social media filling every spare minute. Instead, people found joy in the world right in front of them. They knew their neighbors by name, gathered around family tables every evening, and built lives with their own hands. Looking back almost feels like opening an old photo album where every faded picture whispers a story that refuses to be forgotten. Imagine waking up in the early morning as the first rays of sunlight slipped through wooden windows. Instead of alarm clocks on glowing screens, many people woke to the sound of roosters crowing, church bells ringing, or the gentle voices of family members beginning another busy day. Fresh air drifted through open windows, carrying the scent of trees, fields, or freshly baked bread from nearby kitchens. The day didn't begin with checking messages. It began with real life. For millions of Americans, work started early. Farmers stepped into fields while the morning dew still covered the grass. Horses pulled plows across endless acres of land. In growing cities, factory whistles echoed through the streets, calling workers to long shifts that demanded strength and determination. Office workers carried briefcases instead of laptops, and every letter they wrote was carefully typed or handwritten. Nothing moved instantly. Patience was simply part of everyday life. The streets looked very different too. Cars existed, but they shared the roads with horse-drawn wagons, bicycles, and people walking from place to place. Many roads were still made of dirt or gravel, especially outside the cities. Children skipped along sidewalks wearing neatly pressed clothes, while shopkeepers swept the fronts of their stores before opening for business. Every neighborhood had its own personality, and every small town had a main street where nearly everyone crossed paths sooner or later. Inside the home, life centered around family. Houses were often smaller than today's homes, but they felt full of warmth. Many kitchens became the heart of the house, where parents and grandparents prepared meals from scratch using fresh ingredients. Bread baked in the oven, soup simmered for hours, and vegetables came straight from gardens instead of supermarket shelves. Meals weren't rushed. Families sat together, shared stories, laughed, and ended the day with conversations instead of television. Children lived in a world filled with imagination. Without video games or tablets, they turned almost anything into an adventure. They climbed trees, raced through open fields, built forts from sticks, skipped rope, played marbles, flew homemade kites, and invented games that lasted until sunset. Their toys were often handmade, passed down through generations, or carefully treasured because replacing them wasn't easy. A cardboard box could become a castle. A wooden stick could become a sword. Happiness didn't require expensive technology. School looked different as well. Many classrooms held students of different ages learning together under one roof. Chalkboards covered the walls, wooden desks filled the room, and teachers expected respect, discipline, and hard work. Students practiced careful handwriting, memorized multiplication tables, and proudly carried books that were treated with great care. Education was valued because people understood that knowledge opened doors to a better future. Entertainment came from people rather than machines. Families gathered around pianos to sing together. Friends visited one another without sending a text first. Community dances filled local halls with music and laughter. Traveling fairs brought excitement to small towns with colorful rides, games, and sweet treats. On weekends, baseball games drew crowds, while churches became gathering places where friendships grew stronger with every passing year. Communication required patience. Writing a letter was an event in itself. People carefully chose each word, folded the paper neatly, placed it inside an envelope, and waited days or even weeks for a reply. Long-distance phone calls were rare and often expensive. Because conversations couldn't happen instantly, every message carried meaning. Every letter became something worth saving, tied together with ribbon and tucked safely into drawers for years to come. Shopping also felt personal. Small family-owned stores lined the streets, and shopkeepers knew their customers by name. They remembered birthdays, favorite products, and family stories. People bought only what they truly needed because money was precious. Clothes were repaired instead of thrown away. Shoes were polished until they looked new again. Broken furniture was fixed with care rather than replaced. Waste was uncommon because every item held value. Medicine had not yet reached many of the incredible advances we know today. Doctors worked with fewer tools and fewer treatments, making every visit important. Families relied on home remedies, fresh air, rest, and the wisdom passed down through generations. Life could be harder, and many challenges that are easily treated today demanded tremendous courage back then. Yet people kept moving forward with hope that tomorrow would be brighter. Communities depended on one another in ways that are difficult to imagine now. If a neighbor's barn burned down, everyone came together to rebuild it. When harvest season arrived, families helped each other gather crops before winter. During difficult times, food, clothing, and kindness were shared without expecting anything in return. The phrase, "we're all in this together," wasn't just something people said. It was the way they lived. The world itself seemed quieter. At night, the sky stretched overhead with thousands of stars shining brightly because city lights were fewer and softer. Crickets filled the darkness with gentle songs, while porch swings creaked slowly beneath the evening breeze. Families often sat outside after dinner, talking for hours as children chased fireflies across the yard. There was a peacefulness that invited people to slow down and simply enjoy being together. Of course, life 100 years ago was far from perfect. Many families faced poverty, difficult jobs, limited opportunities, and uncertain futures. Everyday tasks demanded hard work that modern technology has made much easier. Yet through every challenge, people discovered remarkable resilience. They celebrated small victories, cherished simple pleasures, and found strength in faith, family, friendship, and community. Looking back isn't about wishing we could return to those days forever. It's about remembering what truly mattered. The old photographs remind us that happiness was often found in ordinary moments: a shared meal, a handwritten letter, a neighbor's helping hand, a child's laughter echoing through the summer air, or a quiet evening beneath a sky full of stars. Even as the world races forward with astonishing technology and endless change, those timeless values still have the power to guide us. Kindness never grows old. Family never goes out of style. Honest work, grateful hearts, and meaningful friendships remain treasures that every generation can carry forward. Perhaps that is the greatest lesson from America 100 years ago. Progress gives us incredible new possibilities, but our happiest memories are still created the same way they always have been, by slowing down long enough to truly see one another, to listen, to laugh, to love, and to remember that the richest life is not measured by what we own, but by the moments we share. And as long as we keep those simple truths alive, the spirit of those days will never truly fade.